Hi, allesammans. Hi, everyone. Today, I thought we would talk a little bit about Norwegian nouns. And I mean, most of you probably already know that Norwegian has three genders. And so, but we're going to look at that, but then also some irregular nouns and that they don't follow the pattern. So let's just start with this. So in Norwegian, nouns are called substantiver. And as you can see here, we have three genders, right? We have the masculine, which are en nouns. We have the feminine, which is I nouns. And then the neuter, the et nouns, okay? And so I'll show you some examples of that. But I do want to say though that all feminine nouns can use the en article and ending, okay? So in reality, you just have to learn the masculine endings and the neuter endings because we don't have to use the feminine article and ending if we don't want to, okay? But I will just go through it in this video just so you recognize it when you see the feminine nouns and how they're being used. Okay, so let's just go through this quick. So as you can see here, okay, here we have examples, right? Okay, so first we have the singular antal, which is just one, right? Plural, flertal for the plural. And then, so here you can see how we do it in Norwegian. We do en gutt, right? And then to make it the boy, we say gutten, so we put the en at the end. And then to say boys, we add an er, gutter. And then we add ene, the boys, guttene. This is the pattern that we have. And as you can see here, for the feminine, we have the feminine article, which is I. So then we would put that in front. I dør, adore. Døra, so we don't use an en here, but we use an a for making it the door. And then an er, ene, like we do with the masculine. Okay, dører, dørene. And the same thing with the neuter here. We have et article, et, to say et bilde, a picture. But now we add the et letters to the end of the word to make it definite, saying the picture, bilde. But we do not pronounce the t. The t is silent. Okay, so we don't say bildet, we say bilde. And now again, the plural for the neuter follows the same pattern as we see here. You add er, bilder, pictures, and you add ene, bildene, the pictures. So that is the general rule when it comes to nouns and gender. So, but we do have some like the neuter nouns don't always follow that exact same rule. So here you will see that neuter nouns that only have one syllable, and this is just for the neuter nouns that have one syllable, they do not get an er for the plural, but they do still get the et ending for the singular when you're saying the table. For example, et bord, bordet, but we don't pronounce the t, right? But then we're going to say tables, we say bord without er. But we still add the ene at the end of the one syllable neuter nouns, bordene. And we still don't say that d, we say bordene, the tables. And here too, I want to show you here skrivebord. So skrivebord is made out of two words. It's a compound word. So in compound words, it's the last word that decides the gender. And the last word here, which is bod, is one syllable. And it's neuter because bod is neuter, table is neuter. So then this follows the rule of the one syllable neuter nouns, and you don't add an er to the end of this when you're going to the plural and you're saying desks. You still just keep it skrivebord. Okay, so here we have et skrivebord, a desk, skrivebordet. Again, we don't say the t. the desk, skrivebord, desks, and we still add the E like we do with the that follows the rule. So skrivebordene. So just be careful so you don't pronounce the D there. Okay, the desks. But we also, of course, here we can see that there are some irregular nouns that don't follow the exact pattern. Well, they do add the ER and the ENE, but they lose the nouns, or I mean, they lose some letters in between there. So, and we can see that for nouns that end with EL or ER, they drop the E when it comes to the plural indefinite and definite forms. And here we can see an example of that, right? We have en onkel, a uncle, onkelen, the uncle. And here you can see in the plural here, we have lost an E before we added the ER. And the same thing, right? So we lost that. So it'd be onkler, uncles. And then we have the same thing, the E is gone here. Onklene, okay, the uncles. And here too, with this one ends with an EL. And the same thing happens there. We actually also lose a double consonant here when we go from the singular to the plural. You can see that there it's lost an F. So en gaffel, a fork, gaffelen. So it follows the rule, right? You just add en, doesn't lose anything. The fork, gaffelen, the fork. But here again, like I said, we've lost an F and we have lost an E. So gaffler, forks, and we still add the ER. Then gafflene, the forks. Okay. And here we can see the same thing here. En vinter, a winter, vinteren, the winter, vintrer, winters, vintrene, the winters. And again, you can see here that we've lost an E, and the same thing here, right? But we add the ER like normal. Okay, and the ENE like normal. And the same thing here, we have a double consonant here, ends with an ER, right? So en sommer, a summer, sommeren, the summer. Going to the plural, we can see that the double M went to a single M, and we're missing our E, but we're still adding ER, and the same thing here, adding ENE. So sommerer, summers, somrene, the summers. Okay, and here you can see that too with nouns that end with an unstressed ER like we have here, and it has to do with a profession or nationality. We add an E at the end to make the plural, and then an NE to make the definite plural, right? So the singular plural, just adding an E, and the definite plural, adding an NE. So we have en lærer, a teacher, læreren, the teacher, lærere, teachers, lærerne, the teachers. Okay, and we can see the same thing here because it's a nationality, right? We have en bergenser, a person from Bergen, bergenseren, the person from Bergen. And then again here we just add an E, right? Bergensere, people from, or plural, right? People from Bergen. And then bergenserne, the people from Bergen or Bergen. So you can see that that's what happens there. Another thing that we want to see that we have when it comes in this neuter nouns that end in IUM or EUM, they lose the UM before adding the usual endings in the remainder of the form. So for example, et museum, a museum, musea, don't say the T there, musea, the museum, museer, museums, museene, the museums. And you can see that how it lost its ending EU there, right? Or the UM before we added the ER, okay? Or the ENE. And the same thing here. Et aquarium, aquarium, or an aquarium, aquaria, the aquarium, aquarier, aquariums, akvariene, the aquariums. And there too, we can see that it's lost its UM before we add the ER and the ENE. Okay. And here we can see some more examples of where we lose the double M, or we don't lose it here because we don't have it, but we add the double M before we add the ER, as you can see here. Okay. So that's what happens in here too. Even for the singular, when you're saying the program, we add an extra M when it comes to words that end with an M. And before you add the endings, you have to add an extra M. Okay? So, ett program, a program. Programmet, the program. Remember, don't say the T. Programmer, programs. Programmene, the programs. Okay, and we can see that here too. Ett medlem, a member. Medlemme, the member, adding the extra M. Medlemmer, members. Medlemmene, the members. But we do, like with any language, there's always rule breakers, and ett system, a system, is a rule breaker. You do not actually add an extra M before adding the ER, ENE, or ET to that. So it's just ett system, systema, the system, systemer, systems, systemene, the systems. And another one that's the same way is ett problem, a problem. Okay? So again, we don't add an extra M for that one. Ett problem, a problem. Problema, the problem. Problemer, problems. Problemene, the problems. Okay. So now we're just going to take a look at some more of the irregular plural forms that we have in Norwegian that don't exactly follow the rule of adding, well, you do add ER, ENE on some of them, but some of them change, but you often have a vowel change, as you can see here. So we have ei bok, a book, boka, the book, bøker, books, bøkene, the books. And here you can see that the vowel changed from an O to an Ö, right? And here too, you'll see the same thing. En fot, a foot, foten, the foot, føtter, feet, føttene, the feet. And here again, the O changed to a Ö. And the same thing here with en bonde, which is a farmer. En bonde, a farmer, bonden, the farmer, bønder, farmers, bøndene, the farmers. Okay, and some more that, have a change in the way we do it. En mann, a man. It can also mean a husband. Mannen, the man or the husband. And here we have a vowel change to an E. Men, men or husbands. And mennene, the men or the husbands. Okay, and we see the same thing here. And here we have a compound word, right? So it just follows the pattern of mann. And nordmann, a Norwegian. Nordmannen, the Norwegian. Nordmenn, Norwegians. Nordmennene, the Norwegians. Okay, here we have some more. Klær, which is clothing, and it's klær in itself is plural, so there's no singular form for klær. So clothes, the clothes. Okay. Klærne, klær, klærne. And here you can see that we've lost an E, right? Okay. So instead of having ENE, we have NE there. So we have the same thing here. Et kne, a knee, knea, the knee, knær, knees, knærne, the knees. And here we can see that it went from an E to an A, okay? And we also don't have an E in there, as you can see here as well, okay? A toe, a toe, toa, the toe, tær, toes, tærne, the toes. Okay, and again, the same thing. Vowel change, as you can see in that one. Also have we en mor, a mother, moren, the mother, mødre, mothers, mødrene, the mothers. You can see the pattern here. We change the vowel from an O to an Ö. And we can see that a lot with these family member words, right? Going from losing an O to an Ö. And the same thing here, when you have an A, it changes to an Ö, as you can see here as well. Okay, we have en bror, a brother, broren, the brother, brödre, brothers, bröderna, the brothers. En far, a father, faren, the father, fädre, fathers, fädrena, the fathers. And here we go from an A to an E, right? And dotter, a daughter, dotteren, the daughter, döttre, daughters, döttrene, the daughters. We have en syster, a sister, søsteren, the sister, søstre, sisters, søstrene, the sisters. Et teater, a theater, teatre, the theater, teatre, theaters, teatrene, the theaters. Okay, then we have et barn, a child, barna, the child, barn, children. So here you can see that this one is the same as this one, but it also follows the rule of one syllable neuter nouns where you don't add an ER in the plural. Okay. Then we have barna. So this one changes totally from ENE to an A. The children. Okay. Et bein, a bone or a leg. Beine, the bone, the leg. Bein, legs, bones. Beina, the legs, the bones. And nut, a night, natten, the night, netter, nights, nettene, the nights. And again, here we have a vowel change from A to E. Now we have this one, Eistrand, a beach, stranda, the beach, stränder, beaches, stränderna, the beaches. And again, vowel change from A to E. And hånd, a hand. Hånden, the hand. Hender, hands. Hendene, the hands. And kraft, a power. Kraften, the power. Krefter, powers. Kreftene, the powers. Okay. And then we have en sko, a shoe. Skoen, the shoe. Sko, shoes. Skoene, the shoes. And ting, a thing. Tingen, the thing. Ting, things. Tingene, the things. I ski, a ski. Skia, the ski. She, skis, plural. Skiene, the skis. Okay. Then we have et sted, a place. Stede, again, don't say the T. Stede, the place. Steder, places. Stedene, the places. Et øye, eye, right? Øye, the eye. Øyne, eyes. Øynene, the eyes. And genser, a sweater. Genseren, the sweater. Gensere, sweaters. Genserne, the sweaters. Okay? Ja, håper du har en kjempefin dag. I hope you have a great day. Og så ses vi neste gang. And I'll see you later.